Everyone, it's Alexa, and I will be presenting my project that I have completed during course 6280, Education, Culture, and Ecology. I chose to forgo following the syllabus with Dr. McGuff's permission and decided to study something that I was passionate about, social emotional learning, also referred to as SEL. According to the National Education Association, social emotional learning is the process through which children and adults acquire and effectively apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions, establish and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. In my district, SEL has been a buzzword since I began teaching in 2018. After the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, it seemed that SEL became more important than ever. Students were having outbursts, both verbally and physically. Teachers in my district, who have been teaching for 30 plus years, noted that they were dealing with behaviors worse than ever before. My district chose to try to remedy this problem by having teachers teach the second step curriculum. This curriculum taught students things like how to deal with someone if they take your pencil. Students were dealing with issues far greater than what second step presented. After hearing the feedback, our district dropped second step. Responsibility then went to our guidance counselors to teach 30-minute weekly guidance lessons. However, 30 minutes a week was simply not enough. This year, our district put 15-minute SEL blocks in our schedules. They gave us no tools, no training, or curriculum to use during the block and told us to do what we think is best for our students. The freedom was nice, but we needed more. That's why I chose to create an SEL curriculum for grades 3 through 6, which I will touch on shortly. Before I dive into my curriculum, I will talk about my literature review and critique. While putting together my literature review, I found 6 themes that I chose to highlight. I will discuss them one at a time. The first theme was social emotional learning frameworks. I used the CASEL website for my framework. CASEL stands for Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. CASEL has what they deem the CASEL 5 competencies for SEL. The 5 competencies are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. The second theme was the importance of social emotional learning. SEL is critical for students to develop competencies that are necessary to succeed in college and careers. Research shows that SEL has many benefits, such as a decrease in the following: bullying, drug use, violence, and dropping out of school. Students receiving quality SEL instruction demonstrate better academic performance, improved attitudes and behaviors, fewer negative behaviors, and reduced emotional distress. SEL skills are necessary for fostering healthy relationships, effective communication, self-regulation, and preventing harm to others. The third theme was social emotional learning and literacy. According to Andrew McNally, social emotional learning is a critical literacy skill. SEL and literacy are connected. Books are a great way to incorporate SEL skills in classrooms. In his article, McNally offers strategies for meaningful social emotional learning. It has to be integrated with other curricula, such as literacy. It needs to be intentional, and it needs to be inclusive of all students. McNally offers many strategies to make sure SEL is integrated, intentional, and inclusive in a literacy curriculum, such as using a feelings wheel to identify emotions, using books to discuss SEL skills or character traits, and writing a response to build empathy for characters in books. Another article, Jay Schlund, writes that literacy provides rich opportunities for reflecting on thoughts, feelings, and actions, and perspective taking, which are all skills that are closely intertwined with SEL. Schlund also notes that when working together, SEL and literacy can provide an understanding of different cultures and power dynamics. It allows students to explore their ethnic and racial identities and those of others through discussions, reading, and writing. The fourth theme was social emotional learning across cultures. I read articles about researchers trying to incorporate SEL in Asia and Africa. SEL in schools in Asia was often ignored as more emphasis was placed on academics. When SEL was implemented in those continents, research showed that it had similar benefits on the population as it does in the US, such as reduced behavioral problems and improved social adjustment, school engagement, and academic achievement. In Africa, researchers noted the importance of SEL skills translating to the workforce. They note that people need social awareness in order to be able to exchange knowledge with others and network. Self-awareness is important for students to know themselves, their strengths, and their weaknesses in order to make a well-informed decision about their career choice, which directly ties to responsible decision-making. Students will need self-management skills in their future careers in order to set goals, have organizational skills and self-control, manage time, and be able to regulate emotions. Students will translate their relationship skills learned in schools to their jobs by being able to work together with others as a team to meet deadlines and goals and have a positive work environment. The fifth theme was planned lessons versus authentic experiences. When teachers are provided with high-quality materials or lessons for SEL, they consistently engage in more impactful, emotion-focused teaching. It is important to also use emotion-focused teaching during moments that naturally arise in the classroom. A balance between teaching a curriculum, modeling, and helping students during problems throughout the day can be extremely effective for helping students with their social and emotional needs. The sixth theme was challenges with social emotional learning. Common challenges that teachers and staff reported were teachers having a lack of knowledge or training in SEL, a lack of support from admin, SEL being associated as a Tier 2 intervention versus a Tier 1 intervention, cost for curriculum, teacher buy-in, and SEL is difficult to have a positive impact if it is not culturally responsible or relevant. For my critique, I read the book Critiquing Social and Emotional Learning, Psychodynamic and Cultural Perspectives by Cleo Stearns. Stearns' critiques of SEL were, it cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach. By solely looking at emotional competencies, SEL can neglect systemic issues such as poverty and racism. This places responsibility on the student rather than acknowledging external factors that can shape the student. SEL also assumes anxiety about a child. Stern says, quote, it assumes that the child is a feral creature filled with dangerous tendencies that must be controlled. Children's natural behavior is mistrusted, warded off, and taught away from. End quote. SEL can reinforce conformity and adaptability. Stearns also notes that SEL guides students away from negative feelings. She says that negative feelings should be explored, not punished. I then read a paper by Mark Garrison where he also critiques SEL. He said it teaches students to be more like robots rather than humans, which can take away our decision-making power. SEL is presented as skills to be taught and assessed. We need more authentic approaches for integrating SEL in the classroom. A third critique that I found was from an interview with Cleo Stearns. She mentions that social studies and science are being tossed away in favor of SEL. I personally see this happening in my district. For my inquiry project, I chose to create a social emotional learning handbook. I was inspired to create this because this year, like I previously stated, our district added a 15-minute SEL block but gave no direction for what to do during that time. This curriculum was created for 3rd through 6th grade teachers. I noticed the Castle 5 framework. I use the Castle 5 framework, which includes self awareness, self management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. There is a 1 week dedicated to each topic with a total of 25 lessons. Each week follows the same structure. On day 1, the weekly topic is introduced. On day 2, there is a read aloud and discussion about a picture book that aligns with the weekly topic. On day 3, there is a game or activity to practice a skill. On day 4, there is a role-playing scenario to help students act out and model different scenes that deal with the weekly topic. On day 5, there is a review or journal reflection to reflect on the week's topic and how it can be applied in students' lives. Here is an example of a week's worth of lesson plans. They are written out nice and neat in the handbook, but for presentation's sake, here's an overview. On day 1, students brainstorm what they think relationship skills mean to them. Then, Castle's definition of relationship skills is read to students and written on chart paper. According to Castle, relationship skills are the abilities to establish and maintain healthy and supportive relationships and to effectively navigate settings with diverse individuals and groups. This includes the capacities to communicate clearly, listen actively, cooperate, work collaboratively to problem solve and negotiate conflict constructively, navigate settings with different social and cultural demands and opportunities, provide leadership, and seek or offer help when needed. The teacher will then list examples such as communicating effectively or practicing teamwork. Students can then list examples after hearing the definition as well. On day 2, the teacher will read The Juicebox Bully by Maria Dismondy. After, the class will have discussion questions posed, such as, what is a bully? What is an upstander? What is a bystander? How can you stand up for yourself or others in a respectful way? On day 3, students will engage in the complement strips activity. Students will pick 3 strips from a bucket with another classmate's name on each. They will be tasked with writing each of those three students a compliment. Sentence starters could be provided, such as, I like how you blank, or you are really good at blank. Students will give their compliments to their classmates, and the class will have a discussion about how it felt to give and receive compliments. On day 4, students will be working in pairs on a role-playing task. They will practice acting out safe and appropriate conflict resolution strategies. The task cards will include scenarios such as, a student keeps teasing you about the clothes you wear. What do you do? Or, a classmate gets too close to you and in your personal space. What do you do? Students will brainstorm safe and appropriate solutions to those problems and act them out for the class. On day 5, students will write a reflection to reflect on positive relationships or conflict resolution strategies. Prompts could include, what are some qualities that you want in a good friend? How do you describe a good friend? Or, write about a time when you had a conflict. How did you feel? How did you resolve it? The photo that I decided to take to describe my learning story was a picture of 5 of my students covering their faces with different emojis. Students have the choice to use these emojis as well as others as a check-in during morning meeting to let me and their classmates know how they're feeling. The emotions on the faces have 2 meanings for my learning story. The first is that it shows a part of social emotional learning. Identifying emotions and the ways we can recognize emotions by the looks on our faces and others' faces. The second meaning is the order in which the emotions range: excited, confused, overwhelmed, confident, and content. I purposely put the emotions in this order because this corresponds to my emotions as I took the course. At the beginning, I came in excited to learn new things, meet new people, and take my final course in my master's program. After the first couple of classes and exploring the syllabus, I became confused. I was unsure what my project could be during this course. The syllabus intrigued me, but I was trying to think of ways to create something that I would be able to use to help my students. I then became overwhelmed. I talked to Dr. McGuff and came up with a plan, but the task seemed daunting. On top of my work and my personal life, this seemed like a lot of work. Creating 25 lessons, reading articles and books, and creating my literature review and critique seemed like an overwhelming amount of work. However, as I began creating an outline and buckled down and got to work, I started to feel confident. I knew my plan and where I was headed. I created my SEL handbook and actually had fun doing it. I then worked on the other components of my paper and gained a lot of knowledge about the positives and the critiques of social emotional learning. Finally, my work was done. I felt content and pleased with the outcome. While researching and creating this curriculum, I have been validated in my opinion that social emotional learning is an important and useful skill for students. I have also had my mind open to the critique of seeing SEL as skills to be taught and assessed and the negative effects of that approach. I think the best balance to help students would be a social emotional learning curriculum with planned lessons, while also making sure that as teachers, we are always watching for authentic opportunities to model and teach these skills as they naturally arise throughout the school day. The curriculum and handbook will now be sent to the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teachers at my school. I have already received approval from my principal to share this curriculum with these teachers. They are all excited to view the curriculum. Overall, the purpose of creating this curriculum is not solely to help teachers. The real purpose is to help our students. My hope is that if we can implement this curriculum, then we can see positive changes in our students' abilities to be self-aware and socially aware, manage themselves and their emotions, gain stronger relationship skills, and be able to make responsible decisions both in school and in their personal lives. Thank you so much for listening. Here are my references listed. I am now ready for questions or comments.